Welcome back. In this lesson, we want to create a simple user authentication system where we assume that the user has created an account and we have the username and password stored in the database. So the next time the user wants to log in, all we have to do is to compare the stored user credentials with the input the user is providing. If the provided inputs are correct, we log the user in. If not, we display an error message. So I've written out the steps that you take to achieve this for you, as you can see them on your screen right now. So the first step is you define two variables, and the name of the variables will be correct username and correct password, and you assign any value you like to them. So you are going to print a login prompt for the user. The next thing is you get the username and password from the user. So after that, you validate the input credentials against the stored credentials, and then you print a successful message if login is successful. And then after that, you print an error message if login fails. As you can see in my text editor now, we have an overflowing text here. So to change this, if you want your text to be wrapping, you don't want it to be overflowing, so just go to your settings. Okay, go to your settings. We have settings. Go to editor, go to general, right? So here we have soft wrap. You are going to check this box so that your document will start wrapping. As you can see, what we have here is markdown, text, RST, and ADOC. So we are going to add Python files. So to add that, you can see the instruction to do that here. You can use the asterisk as wildcard and then use semicolon to separate patterns. So we are going to have semicolon to separate pattern, and then we are going to have star.py. So py is the extension for Python files. So now you apply, and then you okay. So that is going to make your files to wrap whenever you are having an overflowing text. As you can see now, this line is no more overflowing. Okay, so these are the instructions. Pause the video now, give it a try. I will see you when you are done. All right, well done. I want to believe that you've given that a try. Okay, so now let's solve the problem together. The first to do is to define two variables, and the first one is correct username. So we can say, okay, so we have correct username is equal to, so let's give it any username. We can call it can say to your Siola. So that's my GitHub username. Okay, we can have another. The next one is correct password. So we can say correct, right? So we have password. Okay, so what are we going to give as the password? We can as well say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so that would be a correct password. The next action is to print login prompt for the user. So we are going to say, we are going to print, okay, so you can say login to your account, all right? Okay, so we can add a new line so that the next prompt will be in a new line. Okay, now, so the next action is to get the username and password input from the user. So we can say, okay, let's call this input username. So we can say input username, okay, is equal to, we are going to pass prompts to the user. You can say enter your username. Okay, the next one is going to be input or password. Okay, so we're going to say input. Okay, so we're going to say enter your password. All right. The next action is validate the input credentials against the stored credentials and print a success message if login is successful. So we're going to say, we're going to have a conditional statement. So we have if correct username is equal to, we have double equal sign to compare the value of the correct username and the input username. So we are going to say if correct username is equal to the input username, and because we want to check both the username and the password. So if correct username is equal to input username and correct password is equal to input password, so now we are going to print a success message for the user. I'm going to have print, okay, so I'm going to say login successful. All right, I say login successful. If you want to customize that, you can also add the user name of the user. So to do that, let's use an f string. Okay, we have f string here. So after this, we are going to have, can say login successful. Let's use exclamation mark. Then let's go to a new line. Then we're going to say welcome. So we add the username of the user. So we say correct username. Okay, so we are going to say login successful, welcome, the username of the user. So let's run this now before we go into the next action. So you see, log into your account, enter your username. Let me provide a wrong username. Let's say to your COL. Okay, so enter your password 2345678 Okay, so you see nothing is printed because these conditions are not true. The password is correct, but the username is not correct. So this condition is false, and then this line of code is not executed. Let's run it again now and provide the correct credentials. So what is your username? You can say to your Ola, all right. Password, you can say 123456789. Okay, if we enter now, you can see login successful. Welcome to your Ola. Okay, so we can add a new line syntax here. So you can say \n, so that is going to add a new line after this. Okay, so let's move on to the next step. Print an error message if the login fails. Now, a simple way to do this is, if this condition is not true, we want to print an error message. So what we are going to do is, we are going to use the not logical operator to invert this when this one is not true. So we are going to copy this now, okay, but our message is going to be different. We are not printing the same message. So we paste this here. So we are going to put all this condition in a parenthesis, put it in a parenthesis, and then we use the not logical operator to invert the condition. So when this condition is not true, so when this condition is false, we use not to invert it to true, so that this line of code will not be executed. So what we are going to say is invalid login credentials. Okay, so now let's run this. Enter your username. Let's say to your Ola, that's my username, and password, let's say 45678. We are now adding 9. So that means this condition will be false, and then this is going to turn it to true. Let me enter that. So you are going to see invalid login credentials because this condition is not true, and then we use not to turn the false to true, so that this line of code is now executed. If you don't want to use this, there are various methods you can achieve the same result. So let's get rid of the parentheses. Okay, so you can say if correct username is not equal to the input username, or, so this is going to be or, if correct username is not equal to input username, or if the correct password is not equal to the input password. So let's run this again now. Now let's provide a wrong username. Okay, so the username is all caps lock, whereas the stored one is all lowercase. This is all capital case. This is all lowercase. Okay, so that's going to make the condition to be false. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so now let me enter that. So you see invalid login credentials. So there are various ways with which you can achieve the same result. All you have to ensure that your logic is correct. However, there is a better way to do this without having to write multiple statements for the same issue. In the next lesson, we are going to be looking at this better way to handle such cases when the condition is not true. So, for that, I will see you in the next lesson.